All right, what's up, job boarders? Time for another founders interview. Got a client on the line here, actually, a former client, Stephen Daspit, who runs Mave, mavehq.com, software sales careers. So it's a software sales job board, essentially. Looks like it's powered by Niceboard. Is that correct, Stephen?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. How long you been on that platform, and what's the experience been like?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Actually, just recently moved over to Niceboard. Maybe it's been 3, 4 months now. I can get into that a little later on too, but it's been a good experience. A couple bumps in the road, but I've kind of figured that out. Yeah, no, it's good. I really like the UI of it, and yeah, no, it's been great.
What were you on before? Smart?
Nope. Before we actually had a short stint with Job Board Fire, and before
Job board
that,
fire. Okay.
had our own custom solution. So kind of walked back a little bit, for an unusual reason, but that's okay.
Yeah, let's talk about some of that stuff. We'll get into the trajectory of the site and everything. But first of all, why'd you make the switch from software overall? What was your reasoning?
Yeah, definitely. So when I first knew I wanted to launch a job board, for me, I took a look at all the different white labeled solutions, and the market's definitely grown from when I initially looked a couple of years back. And I couldn't find something that just fit exactly what I was looking for. I knew when I wanted to start this, I didn't want to be just like every other job board. And unfortunately, going kind of the no code, low code solution, that's kind of how you have to be. And so I set out, I found a developer that I wanted to work with. They helped me kind of build out a more custom solution. And, unfortunately, there was always that need of needing something more, needing something more. And I found out actually kind of getting the nitty gritty of it that, I need to focus more of my time on actually building and fostering a community rather than, spending all my time on development. And so took a step back, but ultimately I look at it as a big step forward. And so we're using Niceboard now, really because it has, majority of everything we want built out. We can accept payments right there from the get-go. There's no, manual invoicing, and we thought the UI kind of closely matched, our brand and what I was trying to build. And so yeah, I think it's been a good experience so far, but definitely now can focus more on fostering and building the community, so that I have an environment for job seekers to come to.
Yeah, totally. It's a nice, clean looking site. Let me share screen here so the audience can see it. So let's go back to the origin story here. Tell me when you first got the idea for starting a software sales job board, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So I've been in tech sales or recruiting tech sales for the past 6 years or so. I've enjoyed it. I've loved it. And I was always taught that job boards are kind of the low hanging fruit. And so I never looked into starting a job board anytime sooner. And so, I figured out that employers are hiring recruiters to search for, 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 roles at a time. But they're still posting those same exact roles, elsewhere on job boards and advertising them. And so, after having lots of, conversations, I quickly learned that job boards are here to stay. It can be more of a DIY approach, where an employer can kind of use more of their internal resources and post and advertise their jobs and screen candidates themselves. And so that's why I wanted to start Mave. And so really the word Mave is kind of derived ultimately from the word Maven, which means expert. I didn't want to kind of pigeonhole myself to just one niche, but I wanted to obviously start out with software sales. And so I wanted to pick kind of a word or logo that wasn't too specific to one industry. And so that's kind of how Mave got derived. But really, our ultimate goal is to focus a lot on filtering, screening, job recommendations. Unfortunately, there are some things that we can't do completely with Niceboard. But for the most part, I've had a really good experience. So yeah.
Nice. And so when did you first start it? What year?
We kicked off maybe a year and a half ago. And for the first year or so, we're using a custom built solution. It was great. I mean, it had more intuitive profiles, had everything we were looking for. But in terms of tools needed to grow the community, and have an emphasis on SEO and marketing. They weren't there, and it was starting to get very, very expensive. And I quickly learned that that can definitely be an avenue I can go down eventually. But when first starting out, I need to focus on building that community first. So that's why I'm taking that step back to do so.
Yep. Along the way, were you always targeting software sales, or were you broader than that, or I forget?
Yeah, no, always targeting software sales. That's just what I've been recruiting for the past 6 years. It made most sense. It's where the majority of my network is. Yeah, and I've enjoyed it. That's kind of what I do best. So it works out well.
Yep. And walk us through your current pricing structure, if you could briefly, just from the basic product points there.
Yeah, no. So we're set up as more of a subscription basis. Pricing right now is really geared towards more of those employers that hire more than 5 salespeople a year. And I think I'm really trying to push more of the subscription than just the posting, because I want employers to be found all the time, whether they're not hiring for jobs. I'm really trying to push more of the company searching and finding companies that closely relate to jobs they may be looking for, and even offering alerts not on jobs but also on companies. So when companies start hiring again, or there's new company news. And so really the goal is to kind of focus more on an all-inclusive subscription model.
Gotcha. All right. Well, how's it going? Tell us more about your sales, if you could, and you some of your wins maybe with the job board.
Yeah, no, it's going well. I think the biggest thing for us was pivoting from using our own custom software solution to picking out a no-code solution. That was definitely a tough decision to do, but I think it was the right one. Still having trouble there, as there is kind of no one size fits all. But having a really strong focus and emphasis right now on kind of building the community and ultimately being more than just a job board. The biggest challenge that I had to tackle kind of going forward was just like every other job board owner, kind of the chicken and the egg approach. And so we've had some luck, backfilling a lot of jobs just to put them on the site and fill it up. And right now I have a very, very heavy sales focus of getting more employers on and paying, as we've seen a huge uptick in number of applications. And so definitely excited to continue forward from there.
Yeah,
But it's been a journey to say the least, I gotta say.
I'm sure the tech layoffs haven't helped anyway.
They haven't helped from a revenue perspective. From a number of users, unfortunately, I mean, we've gained a lot of users just over the past couple of months, from those layoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say actually. So now is a great time for you to build that audience because they're out there, they're looking. So you have more
It
of a
is.
chance of landing those candidates, those job seekers coming to register and get job alerts and all that stuff, man. Right?
Definitely no, and that's been the biggest thing right now. And so we've had a huge emphasis over the past 2 months or so, really on kind of the job seeker front and how can we help them have a better experience, and what can I do personally or with other resources to kind of add to their job search and make sure it's working and gather that feedback and kind of figure out right now, hey, this is there's a lot of people who were recently laid off and looking for jobs. What can I do personally to kind of help their job search, and then take that feedback going forward and kind of make changes and implement that into the job board to ultimately make a better matching process. That's essentially what we're doing. So
Yep.
no, that's gone great.
How are you marketing the site today? Give me a sense of how you're trying to build community there and what you're doing from an advertising standpoint.
Yeah. So right now, in terms of marketing, I think that's been another one of our challenge. Our previous site didn't have many features around SEO or SEM, and so have a big push there in terms of starting to kind of put out more blogs. Ideally one a week, just to kind of stay top of mind. Really focusing on offering sales tips, advice, things that are kind of more long term. Ultimately, we want to be a place where sellers can come and learn about sales or find more sales resources. And when it's time for
Yeah,
them to find
why
a
don't you
new
do like a
job,
little virtual webinar series for them? That would be awesome.
exactly, some sort of training series or something like that. That's kind of the thought process there. Exactly.
That'll really help to just build your brand, number one, and then just again foster community. But if you can bring together people virtually, and a lot of these roles too are software sales or remote roles, so
Yep.
you have a whole continent to basically pick from there. So even global too, I would think. But yeah, definitely do some virtual stuff like that. I think it'll be pleasantly surprised as to how well that kind of helps
Yeah,
convert
I
seekers
like
over.
that.
Yep. Yep. Um, all right. So a year and a half. Do you have any sense of what your traffic is like right now? I mean, unique visitors monthly or something like that?
Yeah, no, we've been
Tell
tracking that.
us.
I still think it's a lot lower than where we'd want to be. I'd have to pull it up here.
Let me give you some little feedback here, if I could, putting my
Yeah.
consultant hat on. Mhm. Are you getting Google for job traffic? Still
We are.
loading in?
So, and that's one of the reasons that we did pivot over to Niceboard because it does integrate directly with Google for Jobs, which has been great. And so that does help. I don't think it's the end all be all. Luckily, right now we have gotten a lot of traffic, not necessarily reported through any sort of analytics tool, but just my conversations that I have with job seekers and after they sign up, but people really just word of mouth. Hey,
Mhm.
listen, I just got laid off. All my friends just got laid off. Here's a great resource to kind of get started. And so
Yeah.
we've had a lot of help from that aspect.
Can they add a resume to your site in terms of just a database or?
Yep. So, yeah. So when you
Okay.
sign up, very simple. It's just name, resume, LinkedIn profile, and
Oh
that's
yeah, I
it.
see it. Yeah, the profile sign up page is actually pretty minimal.
It is. Yeah. And I,
Nice.
I think the goal was to remove as much friction as possible. So that obviously we could kind of uptick the signups.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right now, and even the employers that we do work with, a lot of them prefer kind of more of the external applications. So that's one thing that I've been trying to bring back. I think it's definitely well noted that an employer can get more applications if they don't have them jump through more hoops. And so, been working on that. But I'll say again, I mean, that's another challenge that we've had. I have this big concept of adding filters around specifically a job and is it an inside or outside sales job and how can we kind of help that matching process better. But unfortunately, a lot of employers, provide, fail to provide that information. A lot of times, they're content with just providing a job description
Yeah.
and hoping for the best. So,
Yeah. I mean, when I get a new job posting, especially a paid one on one of my sites, I go in and look at it. I critique it first.
yep,
And if I can change something on the fly that helps just the overall discoverability of that job, I will do it just myself. I won't even ask the client. I'll just go in and fix it right. It could be the job title. It could be just the way they worded it or the way they categorized it. Don't be afraid to go in there and change that stuff because it's only going to help the job. And I think it's only going to, you're adding value to that company as well when you're doing stuff like that. So
agreed,
definitely look at that stuff and try and improve the listing on behalf of the employer as well.
definitely. No, I agree.
Yep. So I was asking about the traffic stats. Did you look up your?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to log in. I'm on a different browser here now.
Yeah.
We can try and do that now.
I just be curious, like last 30 days, what your monthly uniques are like.
Yeah, so I mean, ever since switching to this new site, we're not as much as where I'd like to be. I want to say right now,
Yeah, there
uh,
is from a SEO standpoint, there is a period there where Google is, it's
yeah, we
reworking your
definitely took
SEO
a bit
traffic.
of a
So
hit just over the past 30 days. I want to say we're just around 2,000.
okay,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
that's
very, very minimal. I mean, it's something we're working on growing, but we have definitely taken a hit and trying to kind of rebuild that. And
was it higher with the older site at one point?
it was at one point, but we changed domain names as well, so we took a bit of a hit there as well. So trying to
Did
kind
you
of
forward your old domain to the new one?
we did, yep.
Okay,
So that's set up. But yeah, any
redirected. I
good
mean,
advice you can provide would be helpful because we're looking to focus on more strategies. I will say right now, I really don't have anything invested in Google Ads or Search Console. So that could be a place to start. A lot of the traffic we have right now is just organic. So it's nice, but I definitely think there's a lot of room for growth there.
yeah, get on Search Console, connect your analytics account to that as well. That gives you a better opportunity to see the keywords you're ranking for. from that perspective. It also showed like the number of jobs you have indexed. How many jobs on your site today, roughly?
We have just over 2,000.
2,000. Okay. So you're getting basically a visitor per job, roughly, So
Yeah.
let's talk about your traffic second. So, generally speaking, at the end of a year, I like to see a niche job board have closer to 5K
Okay.
monthly seekers. So you're a little behind there, but you just switch platform. That's probably a big reason why. But the good news is you've got some nice little organic base there that you're sort of building on. So I think for this site to be, really cranking in sales, 10,000 monthly users is, your milestone there.
Okay. That's a good
Got a
number.
ways to go, but I think if you hang in there for the next, 2 years or so, you can get there. And to me, it's all about being persistent and consistent over time, right, Steve? It's crank out the blogs every week. Try if you can do 2 a week, do 2. Go on Chat GPT and make some articles there, for free, essentially.
Oh yeah.
And be a content machine for software sales. Highlight people in your space, so highlight seekers that come on your platform. Do a little Q&A profile with them.
I like that. Okay.
Tag them on LinkedIn. Have them, drive that traffic back. But it is about marketing at this point. You've got the jobs, you've got the platform. You're starting to do the content work. It's just about rinsing and repeating at this point, I think. From what I see, I think the niche is a good niche. I've seen people try and tackle this niche over the last 10 years at various times. No one seems to stick with it. I don't know. I mean, to me, running a job board is just about staying in there for the long haul, right? If you're here 3 years from now, you'll be making money, right? You're not gonna.
Yeah,
Not
we've
gonna,
got a couple solid competitors now, which is great.
yeah, I did see a couple other ones pop up this year and last year. So who are the competitors, rough?
So there's a larger company called Bravado.
Bravado, okay, yeah.
Yep. They initially started out just as just focused on sales. I think they've kind of taken a turn into tech sales, which is okay. They're at a much higher price point than we are. Definitely so. I mean, they have a much larger community they've been built. But for me, I mean, that's great to hear. I think knowing that there is another competitor in the space is knowing that there's a market need. And so,
yeah, another one is called Celex. I did an interview with the founder of that one.
Celex, I haven't heard
more
of
of
them.
it's more of a kind of complete marketplace where you actually pay the people inside the platform and you hire them through there. It's more like an Upwork for sales almost.
Interesting.
I
That's
remember.
awesome.
But there's another software sale. You put out a press release, didn't you, at some point?
We have, yeah, we've put out a couple, really for traction and obviously to let other people know kind of what we're doing. At one point we had, a good amount of users on the old site, to where it was press release worthy.
Yeah.
Not quite there.
How many emails do you have of candidates?
Another good question. I want to say we're probably closer to like 5,000.
5,000. Okay, that's great. So first
I
of
have
all,
a really good base.
Are you leveraging that email list every week?
So not quite, but yes, I think right now in terms of content strategies, right now I am working on a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter.
Go weekly, man. Weekly,
okay.
and all you got to do, it doesn't have to be a lot. You can be, a job of the week and an article you share, right? Just curate some content for them.
Definitely
push it out every week. That's instant traffic, man. 4 times a month. Get in their radar, become the software sales career newsletter, right? And think of it that way. Start thinking about running a newsletter, not a job board.
Yeah, no, that is true. And that's exactly the first lesson I learned is, running a community, not a job board. The community is kind of what's, going to keep coming back, and how can I add value to them other than jobs? And
there's value in curation and curating things and stories, and people are so busy today, they don't have time to read all the stuff and find these videos or whatever. Go curate it for them and give them some jobs in there as well. Drive traffic back to your site, remind them what they can do on the job board, and rinse and repeat, man.
Definitely. Hey, that's good advice. Something I'm a little far behind in doing, but knowing I need to do. So,
All right, well, get on it, man.
hey,
Just got some free advice there.
I appreciate it.
Nice. What other what other challenges or questions might you have for me as we start to wrap things up here? But appreciate your time today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate having me on. Good to kind of hear my story and obviously, listen to other founders and hear kind of what they're doing. It's definitely not a one size fits all, a market by any means, but there's a lot of other things you can learn from other job board founders on kind of how they tackle different issues. Like I told you, I think the two biggest ones that I have are around marketing, which is really the biggest task from here on out. And before that was development. And so I think right now we've solved the development issue for the time being. But really marketing. I mean, what else can we do, to drive traffic? What does that look like? And then third is, really adoption, from employers. I mean, how can I get them to, provide more information? And, I have some employers who would rather me just, scrape their employer page and upload those jobs to my site. Other employers who will go in there and upload their jobs manually. But going forward, I mean, the goal is to extract more information from them. There's a lot of information that's not shared on a job description that myself as a recruiter share, thus to, pitch a candidate and get them interested.
Yeah.
But if I can,
Like, yeah, a couple things in there, like go in their career sites when you get a client and just like copy something else and add it to their company profile page on your job board. I've done that before, just to augment that kind of data. And then secondly, just make sure you communicate with them as well on a regular basis. With employers, I usually recommend like once a month a newsletter. Just to, give them tips on using your site, give them some recruiting advice if you can find some of that stuff out there. And make sure you communicate with them. You got to remind them you exist once they join, man, because they forget. They're bombarded doing all kinds of stuff recruiting every day, and there's all kinds of vendors out there that want to talk to them. But you got to remind them that you exist as a job board. So definitely once a month at least with employers in terms of newsletter stuff.
Definitely, that's good to know because we aren't doing an employer newsletter now. A lot of it's just been, one-on-one emails and keeping in contact that way. But I like that. That'd be a good idea to share, market trends, data, things like that. Excellent.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So,
well, it's mavehq.com for the audience, and Stephen, come back another year and give us an update, will you?
That's right. Hey, Chris, I appreciate having me on. Thanks so much.
All right, man. Good to talk to you.
Likewise.